building citadels in this cycle of crisis. Hi, I'm Nick, former medical doctor turned soul doctor, having healed from my lifelong asthma and suicidal depression. And I want to talk to you today about building your own citadel. And this is an idea that I gathered from Dr. Jack Kruse. It's been something I've been working on and been drawn to for a while. And part of my idea of a citadel isn't just a house for myself and my immediate nuclear family, but rather a place, a piece of land, several buildings where I get to be with Ohana, a very close tribe, soul family, space for people to visit, safe space for my own family to visit as well, land that is nurtured, regenerative, growing, that we have diverse sets of skills that's growing together, where we can hunker down, retreat if needed, if there's any kind of chaos, where there's self-sufficiency in both the storage of food, the growing of food, the energy, the water, the sewage, where now there's really good sunshine, where there's a really good magnetic pull as well, where there's really good water. And so I want to talk about the details and talk about the process of stepping into your own, and both the pushing sometimes, the rush, the excitement, and then the stepping back and the consolidation, and recognizing most likely it will fail the first few times. So one of the first times I remember is there's a bunch of people coming together trying to buy this foreclosure property that was like 280 acres. There was like multiple buildings. It was worth so much more. It's gonna be several $1 million, and everyone could have their own house. But there was no active leader. And in that process, I could see it failing, because without an active leader, there wasn't an active business plan. Without an active business plan, there wasn't anyone who really wanted to back it when push comes to shove. And so it died a slow death. And people will look back going, oh, what if? And it wasn't, no one was ready for it, including myself. And I hadn't actually had the buy-in of my family, my beloved, because if we're not really into it, and I recognize that now more, it's an exponentially more challenging thing. It's hard enough to buy your own home. Then thinking about doing that with another couple. We tried that as well. We had another friend we were going to buy a home with after we sold our townhouse, or actually before we bought our townhouse. And we were coming to, like, we wanted 2 separate homes, all this stuff. We could pool our resources, buy at a different tier. And it was a great idea, but when push came to shove, we both wanted the same thing, the same house out of the 2 houses. We weren't ready yet. He wasn't partnered up yet, so therefore there could be a lot of changes. There weren't the agreements that were made. There wasn't the clarity that was there. It needs a lot of clarity, like what is going to happen? How do you resolve disputes? All this kind of stuff. And then right now I'm working on looking at Hawaii, Big Island, having some really close men who are both fathers, who are both wanting to work in the land, both want to grow there, both there right now. And how do we do it? And they remind me, it's like, you're not here physically right now, Nick. So it's not easy finding a place. What do you really want? How big do you want? It takes a lot of work to maintain it. You know, what are the details? It takes a lot to take a look through a piece of land to make sure there's not any issues with it that you don't know about. And how I've rushed things before, like rushing buying a car and other things like that. And how do we not repeat the same mistakes that have happened before? But I'm really glad I accelerated this process first, had some deep dives, deep conversations, long messages back and forth with them to get to this point. Now to slow down, take a breath. All right, now what's there? Now that we stirred it up, what are the actual feelings that are there? What's the truth that's there? And I'm speaking only with the ones that are ready to actually hear it yet, not trying to bring the ones that would be more fearful of it. Being much more clear now, we need 3 separate houses at least. We need to not be able to see each other, but we know that each other's there. We need to be able to build 3 separate hales, or people who can come visit us homes, and then also have a piece of land that's at least 6, probably 20 acres that can grow things. We want to grow at least half of our food there. We want to be able to build and develop and have contractors and everything else, but not get scammed, not get screwed over. We want to be self-sufficient. And all these things are exciting things. They take resources, they take real tangible things. And now, how do I step into that? How do I step into the resources? How do I step into those details without me having to step into it? Because they're talking about trust, they're talking about taxes, they're talking about efficiencies in that way. And those are not my fortes. My forte is bringing people together, making it playful, reminding us why we're doing this, reminding us that there is excitement, reminding that this is all possible, reminding us that unicorns exist, reminding us that the universe wants to work with us when we actually get more clear. And I'm getting more clear. Okay, I need an east-facing window. I need to have at least 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I need to have at least probably 1,000 square feet. I need at least 1 giant lanai. And eventually I'd love to have a communal house that's built as well. I don't want to be the one living there, but having a kitchen that people can come to congregate to. I would love to have eventually, more buildings on there. I'd love for it to be able to expand. I'd love for it to have a maloka on there, even a simple maloka, to be able to do some of my work. I'd love to have my own office kind of thing outdoors, kind of my own place to do my work in the mornings as well. There's so many things that I want that I don't have yet. And I'm practicing playing with that, because the whole idea of praying from a place of wanting is you're admitting that you don't have it, you don't really believe in it. And part of me is actually saying the words in order to start shifting it, because it's the internal energy that really matters, that will eventually be reflected in the outer words. And why is this important? Probably the next 5 to 10 years, because there's going to be some crisis. We're in the cycle of crisis right now, where things can get cut off, things can feel dire. And in those places, how do we actually be with our citadels of people to feel safe, to know that we're not doing ourselves? Because otherwise you're in a constant state of fear, of alertness, and that's going to bring us all down. So building these tribes, these ohanas. And the second thing is, as we develop this, we get to be reminded, how do we not create a system that's so fragile that one little cog can break it all, that we're all never being willing to let go of starting over again, because we're like, oh no, everyone will suffer if we let the system break down. And the systems need to break down sometimes in order to build back up. We need fasting cycles. And as well, when we surround ourselves with our favorite people, that each of us has a different set of favorite people, then we grow exponentially faster. We grow exponentially faster when we spend consistent, regular time with people that we truly love. That was the whole point of family and extended family before. And we've kind of destroyed that in the Western world, especially, moving wherever we want, whenever we want, putting up boundaries, putting up walls with our family, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to deepen this relationship, deepen this bond, deepen this trust. Not good or bad, because now we have more opportunities to step into Ohana in a different way. But it's also acknowledging what we've lost. Oh man, there's so many people that think that the only way they can actually get by is having a certain amount of RSP, so we're all fighting for this money thing, as opposed to building more trust, building more self-sufficient insurance, banking, all this stuff, and outsourcing all that, and saying, without having really good insurance policies, without having banking, all this stuff, which can go away at any instant, which we never know if we're going to get truly paid out for, which we're spending all this energy jumping through hoops to prove to the people that we're paying that we deserve what we're asking for. Oh my God, we've lost the ability to actually live in a world where we actually feel safe, because we're always worried about the risks. And we're legislating the risks. Even the whole idea, I'm going to say this, of helmets, of having to have all these, smart meters, all this stuff, all this comes down to a centralized plan that doesn't allow for individualized creativity. And the whole point of these citadels is to create more individualized creativity. I want us to realize that there's not a right answer to this. What is the answer that we're wanting to choose, willing to choose? What are the sacrifices we're willing to make right now? Part of these citadels as well in the citadel is I want to have great childcare, great schooling in a way, a different kind of schooling, educational system, a place where the children can play, can thrive, can build, can grow, business can build and grow. This whole idea of making things green in a different way, this whole idea of eating more wholesome, more nourishing, having sugarcane. Oh my God, sugarcane's a big one. Soursop is a big one. Pineapples are a big one. Lilikoi are a big one. Mangoes are a big one. Orange is a big one. We want all that growing on our property. And then letting it go, because there's a part of me that's trying to push. And it's a time to push, and then time to relax and consolidate. And I'm going to keep going through the cycles of this. Every now and then I'm going to push a little bit more. All right, I want this. And if I can't have this right away, with buying it, with owning it with people that I love, then how do I do this in the way that I can right now with what I have, with the tools that I have, with the resources that I have, and trusting it's going to come together. And then having the animals on there, the chickens and other things like that, and letting them grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and learning how to hunt, learning how to be at one with the land, learning how to fish, all these different things. Now, what else is there that I want to talk about citadels? Now, these things right now, I'm going to point out, there's this whole idea of the magnetic pole shifting, the magnetic declination, the need for a really good sunlight, the need for good governance, freedom. And so there's a website that's out there, hopefully I'll put a link down to, that will remind you of that, that I invite you to take a look at. And unfortunately, there's a lot of places in the world that may be kind of dead zones. They may actually be more responsible for the obesity epidemic, the disease epidemic, along with the governance, the Rockefellers, the EMFs, all this stuff. I don't discount any of that. But what if it's less of an effect than just the land itself and our connection with the land? And each of us has a different connection. Each of us has a different connection. And it's being able to listen, am I getting sicker here or healthier here? If I'm getting sicker here, maybe it's time to move. If I'm getting healthier here, fantastic. How do I amplify that? How do I accelerate that? How do I feel better and better and better? How do I not always run away from? How do I build and develop? And that's part of it with Citadels. It's how do I stack one layer on top of another to build something that's even greater than the whole? And that's been a part of my life. We've been moving so much up to this point in time. Probably have moved like 45 times. And now how do I step into, all right, I want to actually have more permanent places, even though I think I'm going to have at least 3 places in the world eventually. How do I have more permanent places in general? Because I want to build real tribes, community ohana. And I invite you to do the same. I invite you to step back from. I'm going to be giving more videos like this, especially if you ask specific questions. I'd love to address it because it helps me bring more clarity into my process as well. A lot of love. Ciao for now.